One of the reasons I'm here, I wasn't brought in to tell you all the stuff Brandon told you, how great the software is for cutting, pasting, and all this stuff. I'm really here to tell you what matters most to me, and also to my old predecessor that I worked for many years, Ray Charles. It doesn't matter what the software does, it matters how does it sound. And a lot of people today want to say that software is software, it's ones and zeros, so what brand I use isn't important, it only matters on what I can do in this digital world and cut, paste, and edit and all that. In my world, sound still matters a lot. How it sounds is what I got into this business for, was for the music. And one of the things when I first started looking for software or a DAW system to use was how it sounded, especially since I had to audition it for Ray. He couldn't see what was on the screen. All he heard was what we were doing and what the end result was. In the early days, from the early 90s, Ray and I never got into the digital workstations because they never sounded right. Once we got into 24-bit technology, the computer systems were better. Ray and I started liking what we could do editing in that. But the one thing we've always done, and even like a lot of my associate engineers I work with in the business, in the early days, no matter what DAWs you used or what tools you used, we still treated it like a tape recorder and still used a mixing board to do all of our manipulation of the audio and recording, tracking, and mix down. Now, I must say, with the 64-bit, we're able to work in the box. For a lot of years, I couldn't do nothing in the box because as I got in the box, I wasn't happy with my sounds, especially when I started using plugins. As we got, like I said, 24-bit was a big improvement. But for the computer side, 64-bit has been an even bigger improvement. But in layman's terms, it allows me to have more plugins, it allows me to have more channels, and more importantly, the way I sound, because I say it, how it sounds, I'm able to do my pre-mixes inside the box. Before I got into using a DAW system, I would spend literally almost a day in a major studio per song. By the time I got my mix going, asked the artist what they thought, the A&R guy comes in, he tells you what you think, or he thinks, next thing you know, you've spent a whole day on one song. But because it's 64-bit too and the sound is so good, I wind up using a lot more of the plugins now when I mix than what I did before. So I now am able to the best of both worlds. I got my great plugins, and like the channel plugin that Brandon was showing you, one of my favorites now. Favorite because of the way it looks, favorite because of the way it works as far as the ergonomics when you're moving things around, and more importantly, I love the way it sounds. You know? So, like I said, I've always made my work how it sounds and not how do I get from A to B. So, like I said, with the 64-bit, I'm able to get a lot more done inside the computer, that I still keep it that way. And my clients love it too. When I'm done working, you know, we've got a sound and it's fine. Another thing I should add too, not just a 64-bit. People think, like we said, about the ones and zeros. It's all ones and zeros. And I got into arguments when I first started. I loved the Sonar 4 when it came out. There was a noticeable sound improvement. And there's blogs saying, well, it's all ones and zeros. They all sound the same. When you do really involve testing and you take a bunch of tracks and you put them all at Unity Gain, they've been recorded that way, your WAV files, and you put them in one DAW system to another and don't put an effect in it, don't pan it, don't go past Unity Gain, they almost all sound the same. The moment you move a fader, whether it's 1 dB, a half a dB, you're at the discretion of the developers at that company and how their mathematician, how their software guys made those ones and zeros equal the sum of what you're listening to now. And the first thing I noticed with Sonar, and this even goes back to Sonar 2, they had the ones and zeros down to magic. Every time I played music, and especially with Ray, he was happy. He never said, Terry, would you put that on the 24 track so I'll like it better? He was always happy with what we were doing there, you know. So that's my thing, where I'm at.
Do you do any mastering? Or
Yes, I do mastering.
Have you used Sonar to do mastering, or do you have an app?
I actually have. I did a thing with Duran. I did a live thing for them. It was interesting because of some constraints I had in Japan, I was using another software system. When we went to master, the guy I master with Doug Sachs at the mastering lab, but I master with him. And Doug's going, man, that's just not what I'm used to you bringing into the studio here. You know, it could be the software, I said, I got the same, broadcast wave files that I did when I did my editing on the Sonar. So the next day I brought the Sonar in, same converters, but because we were talking about the ones and zeros in the mix, it wound up a night and day difference in the tracks after they got faded and all that. That the one software was dull and the Sonar, and Doug even said, he goes, "What are you using? That's the best sounding DAW I've heard." And that was, to me, came good because they use in their system is the SADI system, and they also use Sonic Solutions. So, in my opinion, that was right up there audio-wise with those two guys, and both of those systems are $20,000 systems. Yeah. So it's great. And one of the other reasons we brought the SSL in is to show how professional the Sonar really is in an environment. It's not the common tools, but it is definitely the sonic tools of the industry. Like I said, my biggest reason to use it has been the sound.
All right. Thank you very much, Terry.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.